Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. I'd like to welcome y'all to the show. We're doing something for the people to give them and give you all a respect upon the reason why, and to help you search and find what is your voter interest and the whole political landscape. We want to go back before Reconstruction. And I got a gentleman by the name of DC, call him DC Politico, who will give you insights, and he's more than capable. I mean, just having conversations with this gentleman amazed me on his vast knowledge dealing with this system and how things work, and especially the political landscape. So, Brother DC, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right. Now, the reason why it would inspire me is because I went on a radio show. Miss Kelly had a jazz show, and this was on 1430 back in the day, KCOH, and she was asking me about an upcoming election. But so on my way to the show, I stopped in a certain neighborhood, and I was asking people who was running. They didn't know who was running, and I was asking, well, what was the issues at hand? They didn't know the issues at hand, and I'm like, well, how can you go out and campaign to these people, and they don't even know who you are, what you're running from, but yet some of these politicians are on these radio shows, which tells me that they didn't go out and connect with the people. So we finna get started as far as voting interest. We want to go back to at one point that most black people was Republicans, right?
Yeah. That was the party of Lincoln. Lincoln freed the slaves, and blacks automatically flocked to Lincoln.
Now, what about this? I'm hearing about they was paying them $5 for their votes to switch them to become Democrats or something in that nature, or the Dixiecrats.
They were. You had a lot of political bosses that could buy votes, and they could deliver votes to candidates. And they would go out, and blacks were poor. They would pay them for their votes and deliver the candidate.
Right. Now, a republic, and the Republican motto was, and we'll use street terms in a sense, with either sink or swim, or you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, or you was on your own. In a sense,
that was a Republican motto. But how could black people pull themselves up by their bootstraps when they had no boots?
Right.
They freed the slaves, and they had no resources. They just turned you loose. You had no money, no land, nothing in which to make a living by.
That's right. So in actuality, then they wasn't doing any good for black people at that point, because, as you stated, there was nothing that black folks had after they was free from slavery. Like you said, no land. A lot of them couldn't read or write. No skills where they had skills as far as carpentry, but who would hire them in that climate?
Nobody would hire them, especially in the South. And most black people was in the South, and they would only let black people do menial tasks. They reserved most of the skilled laborers for the whites.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Democrat Party, they came in as though, okay, we'll take you under our wing, and we'll try to even the playing field so you can get ahead. But some complain that dealing with the Democrat Party is they want to think for you, or they want to be the leader of you, and they don't want you to take charge in a sense.
Well, black people flocked to the Democratic Party during the Roosevelt administration. He had a New Deal, and he included blacks. Everybody was poor. Nobody had anything. So after that, black people automatically migrated to the Democratic Party.
Okay.
The only thing with that, when you just give a person welfare, some of the social networks that are intended to help blacks end up being a hindrance, because if you give a person, you don't teach them how to make a living or how to be responsible for their own lives, you're really not helping them.
Yep, and it was stated that the one thing that there's three things that the white man said that he'd never teach the black man was the science of war, the science of business, and the science of mating. which are essential in order to unite or build a collective community. So now I'm hearing people saying in upcoming elections, don't worry about the presidential election. Start voting on the state level.
That would be a good idea because most politics are local. For instance, here in Houston, you don't have sidewalks in a lot of the community, but we had a mayor, Anise Parker, that spent $40 million to upgrade the Buffalo Bayou, make a bicycle trail. Well, what about your local area where drainage is a problem?
Come on, and see, that's what this is all about, though, Cock. I mean, DC. That's what this is all about. I'm getting excited, but let me tell you what it's all about. Your self-interest. It's okay. You released from slavery. Don't know how to read. Don't know how to write. Certain areas of science that they wasn't going to teach us. Because they said if you want to hide something from a person, you can either put it directly in front of their face or put it in the book. Okay, now you walk outside your door. You got children. The collective community should have been down at City Hall saying, "Where my damn sidewalks?" You see what I mean? It's like we have to learn what is your self-interest as an individual, or what are those actually elementary things that you need to have a productive society. Because you're right, you go out in these other neighborhoods, you're going to see sidewalks. You're going to see their children well protected. You're going to have signs every damn well. You know what I mean? So we deserve the same thing, and the message been, look, we the original man and woman of the planet Earth. Everybody came from us. There's no way and sense they should even treat us as second-class citizens, but we have to ask for and demand things that are essential to us as beings.
Again, about local politics, we have schools that are threatened to be closed. Why aren't they financing these schools and giving them the adequate resources that they need to train these teachers, hire the best teachers, so that our kids can be educated? We protesting, we putting all our energies in keeping failing schools open, when we should be protesting to get the resources and the monies that we need to make sure that our children are achieving and are reaching the goals that are set by the state. And
by doing so, will that up the chance of them having a productive future?
That will. Education is the key. Education is the key. Without an education now, you're not going to be a very productive citizen. You're not going to make a living wage. The Democrats talk about raising the minimum wage, but as soon as you raise the minimum wage, then they raise the prices on everything.
Right.
So you're still not getting ahead.
Right. So that means then, now this takes back to the role, the responsibility of the person who's actually claiming that they represent the people or a certain district, right? At the end of one politician quote, it was was spotted saying that the people was complaining, why you didn't, and his response was, well, while I was in office, you didn't ask nothing of me, so I did nothing for you.
I think as a politician, you should know the needs of your community. You should know the needs of the people that you're representing. Sometimes these people can't articulate what their needs are.
Come on.
But being a politician, being a educated person, skilled person, a disciplined person, then you should know the needs of the people that you're representing. They shouldn't have to ask you. You should go out among the people, find out what they need, instead of jumping on this gravy train and enriching yourselves.
That's a fact. That's what, and we've been yearning, and the people been wanting to get behind that type of person to pave a way, because our parents love their children, mothers, fathers, but to create that dynamic to where mother, father is there, the family structure, the purpose of having a family structure, the purpose of voting your self-interest. What is your self-interest? Because that's like a roadmap into the future for not just the present, but for the future generations to come, meaning you setting the standard. And that's what we trying to grasp at, is we got to create a standard that we know will lead to success. How do we do that?
Well, education is the key again.
That's right.
But then having safe and protected neighborhoods is the key. We're living in neighborhoods now. A week ago, a small child was killed over in the Sunnyside area, was shot over in the Sunnyside area. Gang wars. Why are we having gang wars? Because there's no jobs for our young black males. We haven't prepared ourselves. We haven't gotten education. Now the factory jobs are going to China and everywhere else. So we don't have anything to do. Now we're standing on the streets, joining gangs, selling drugs, but we're not preparing ourselves for the future, and we're definitely not preparing our children.
That's right. That's a fact. Well, look, we appreciate that. Very Big Radio. We out.